Japan is a country with many people. Around 123 million people live there today. This makes Japan the 11th most populated country in the world. Its largest island, Honshu, is very important. More than 102 million people live on Honshu, making it the second most populated island globally. However, if we look closely, we see a surprising picture. Most of Japan's people do not live all over the country. Instead, they live along a special narrow line. This line runs across the southern part of the main island and is called the Taiheiyo Belt. This belt is very long, about 1,200 kilometers. It is home to Japan's largest cities, like Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya. About 80 million people live in this Taiheiyo Belt. This area makes up less than 10% of Japan's total land. This means a huge part of Japan, about 90%, is much less crowded. Only about 43 million people live in this larger, emptier area. The Taiheiyo Belt is extremely dense. It has a population density almost 17 times greater than the rest of Japan. This small area also drives Japan's economy, accounting for about 70% of it. This unusual way of living raises a big question. Why do so many people gather in this small, thin line? Why is a large part of Japan, around 80%, so empty by comparison? This book will explore the reasons behind Japan's unique geography and how it shapes where people choose to live. Get ready to learn about Japan's surprising empty spaces. 2. A country of mountains. Japan is a land truly shaped by its mountains. A large part of the country, about 73%, is covered by these highlands. This natural feature means there is not much flat land available for people to use. Flat land is very important. It is where cities can grow easily, and where farmers can plant crops to feed many people. With so much of the country being mountainous, the Japanese people have always had to live in the few flatter areas. These areas are mostly found along the coastlines. Because of these mountains, the available flat land became very valuable. People could not build everywhere. They needed space to create homes, factories, and roads. Over many centuries, 3 main flat areas called plains became very important. These plains offered the best conditions for large groups of people to live and work. The first and biggest of these is the Kanto Plain. This large flat area is found in the east of Japan. The second important plain is the Nobi Plain, located more towards the center. And the third is the Kenai Plain, which is further west. All these plains have big rivers flowing through them. These rivers were very useful for farming, especially for rice. The water from the rivers helped crops grow, which could then support many people living nearby. These important plains became the homes of Japan's biggest cities. The Kanto Plain is where the huge city of Tokyo stands today. Tokyo is not only the largest city in Japan, but also one of the largest in the whole world, with many millions of people living there. On the Nobi Plain, the city of Nagoya grew to become Japan's third largest metropolitan area. Further west, the Kinai Plain is home to Osaka, which developed into the second largest city in Japan. Cities like Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka grew so large because they were built on these precious flatlands. These areas provided the space needed for houses, businesses, and transport. They also had rich soil and water from rivers, making them perfect places for big populations to settle. Today, these three plains alone are home to almost 70 million people, which is more than half of Japan's total population. They have been key centers for life, economy, and power in Japan for hundreds of years. 3. Good places for ships. Japan's geography is not only about mountains, but also about its coastline. The country's main island, Honshu, has two very different sides for ships. One side faces the large Pacific Ocean, and the other faces the Sea of Japan. These differences played a big role in where people chose to live and build cities, especially for trade and travel. The Pacific side of Japan is very special for ships. It has many natural harbors that are large, deep, and naturally safe. These features make them perfect places for boats to stop, load, and unload goods, allowing trade to happen easily and securely. Two of the most important are Tokyo Bay and Osaka Bay. Tokyo Bay is incredibly vast and very deep. It is also well protected by land from strong ocean winds and waves. This bay is directly next to the huge Kanto Plain, where the major city of Tokyo is located. This prime location makes it an outstanding hub for moving goods. Every year, it handles a huge amount of cargo, a volume similar to the entire maritime trade of Italy. Osaka Bay is another wonderful, large harbor. It connects directly to the flat Kinai Plain, home to the big city of Osaka. The Ise Bay is also a world-class harbor, connecting to the Nobi Plain, near Nagoya. These three bays are considered some of the best natural harbors anywhere in the world. They are all ideally positioned next to Japan's largest flat areas. This combination made them irresistible places for people to settle, build large cities, and develop extensive trade. In contrast, the side of Honshu that faces the Sea of Japan is quite different. Its coastline is much smoother, lacking the jagged shapes that create natural protection. This means there are not as many useful natural harbors for large ships. The ports on this side, such as Misuru Bay or the port of Niigata, are significantly smaller. They offer less protection and are not connected to vast flat plains in the same way the Pacific harbors are. Without big flat areas nearby to support millions of people and industry, these harbors could not grow into massive trade centers. This made the Sea of Japan coast less attractive for establishing large urban centers and major ports compared to the Pacific side, impacting its population growth. The easy access to big, safe, and deep harbors on the Pacific coast gave that part of Japan a crucial advantage. These excellent harbors, combined with the most extensive flat plains, became key ingredients for Japan's economy and population to boom. This significant geographical difference largely shaped the way people live in Japan, with the majority of the population naturally concentrating near these truly good places for ships. 4. The sea inside Japan. After learning about Japan's tall mountains and its deep, useful harbors, let's explore another special water area, the Seto Inland Sea. This sea is unique because Japan's three main islands, Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu, mostly surround it. It feels like a large, calm lake, even though it connects to the Pacific Ocean through four narrow passages. These passages protect the sea from strong ocean waves, making its water exceptionally calm. Because the Seto Inland Sea is so calm, it was perfect for boats and trade for a very long time. In ancient Japan, building good roads across the country's many mountains was extremely difficult. So, the peaceful waters of this sea became a critical natural highway for moving goods and people easily and efficiently. Many small islands, about 700 of them, are scattered across the sea. Several islands have safe, deep harbors where ships could stop during storms, making long journeys by sea much safer and more reliable. The Seto Inland Sea also brought good weather to the land around it. Its waters helped make the regional climate milder and warmer, similar to the Mediterranean Sea. This meant warm temperatures for most of the year, which was great for growing food and for shipping goods all year round. Historically, this sea was very important for connecting different parts of Japan. It linked the western flat areas, like the Kenai Plain where Osaka is, to the eastern flat areas, such as the Nobi and Kanto Plains. This connection was vital for Japan's early economy and political growth. Goods from various regions could easily travel through the calm sea, reaching important cities and towns. For many centuries, the Seto Inland Sea was one of the wealthiest parts of Japan. This wealth encouraged many people to settle and build communities around its shores. The busy trade and movement of people through this sea directly helped cities like Osaka grow into massive urban centers. Osaka became a major economic hub early in Japan's history due to its excellent location on the sea's eastern side, connected to the large Kenai Plain. As Japan modernized, other cities around the Seto Inland Sea, such as Kobe and Hiroshima, continued to develop into significant industrial and shipping centers. The sea truly acted as a central lifeline, solidifying the population concentration within what would become known as the Taiheiyo Belt. This sea inside Japan played a huge and lasting part in shaping where most Japanese people live today. 5. The Shogun's New City. In the early 17th century, Japan found new unity under the Tokugawa shogun. This powerful leader made a very important choice. He decided to move the country's main center of power. The old capital was Kyoto, a city where the emperor lived. But the shogun moved his own administrative center far to the east. This new place was called Edo. Today, Edo is known by a different name, Tokyo. The shogun had strong reasons for this big move. He wanted to be separate from the emperor and the old noble families who lived in Kyoto. This way, the shogun's authority and power would be more clear to everyone. Also, the Kanto Plain, which was the flat land around Edo, had a lot of empty space. This space was perfect for building and growing a new, large city. At first, Edo was only a small castle town, home to just a few tens of thousands of people. But in only 100 years, it grew incredibly fast. By the year 1700, its population had exploded to more than 1 million people. Edo quickly changed from a small town into one of the biggest cities in the whole world, all within a few lifetimes. This enormous growth in Edo and across the Kanto Plain was not by chance. It happened because of a special rule that the shogun created. This rule was known as Sanken Kotai. It meant that all of Japan's feudal lords, called daimyo, had to follow a strict travel plan. They had to live in their own local lands for 1 year. Then, for the next year, they had to move and live in Edo. This cycle repeated every 2 years. Every daimyo needed to have 2 large, expensive homes, one in their own territory and another in the shogun's capital, Edo. Each time they traveled between these homes, they brought with them a very large group of people. Their journeys were long, grand, and very costly. The shogun made this rule for 2 main reasons. First, it allowed him to keep a close eye on the daimyo and their families when they were in the capital. Second, the high costs of maintaining 2 homes and traveling often meant the lords had less money and time. This stopped them from planning rebellions against the shogun. The daimyo's frequent travel had another very important effect. It encouraged the building of many new roads all over Japan. Along these important routes, new towns began to grow. People built inns for travelers, and shops opened to serve the lords and their many followers. These activities created early economic growth along the routes. Over time, 5 main travel routes became very popular. The most used route connected Edo with the old imperial capital, Kyoto. This historical route became a vital part of what we now call the Taiheiyo Belt. The shogun's big decision to move the capital, combined with the Sanken Kotai policy, helped this region become rich and filled with people. It laid the foundation for Japan's most developed and populated area, even before the start of the Industrial Age. 6. Warm and cold water. Ocean currents are a very important reason for where people live in Japan. These movements of water in the sea greatly affect the weather. They bring both warm and cold conditions to different parts of the country. This influences how comfortable life is and how easy it is to find food, particularly fish. One key current is the warm Kuroshio current. It comes from the south, near the Philippines, and flows north along Japan's eastern coast. This current is similar to the Gulf Stream in the North Atlantic Ocean. It carries warm water and moist air. This warm, moist air makes the climate on Japan's Pacific coast mild and pleasant. Areas like Kyushu, Shikoku, and southeastern Honshu, where the Taiheiyo Belt is located, have mild winters and humid summers because of it. For example, the city of Tokyo stays relatively warm even though its latitude is quite north. This mild weather makes these areas very attractive for living. In contrast, there is a cold current called the Oyashio Current. This current flows south from the Arctic Ocean. It brings very cold but nutrient-rich waters. These waters contain many important nutrients. The cold air above the Oyashio Current contributes to colder weather in northern Japan, such as the island of Hokkaido and along the western coast of Honshu, which faces the Sea of Japan. A very special thing happens just northeast of Tokyo Bay. Here, the warm Kuroshio Current meets the cold Oyashio Current. This meeting point is incredibly important. When warm and cold waters mix, it creates one of the best fishing spots in the entire world. There is an abundance of fish here, making it easy for fishermen to catch them from the safe waters of nearby Tokyo Bay. This rich fishery has always supported the large population living in the Kanto Plain, where Tokyo is. So, the ocean currents do more than just influence the weather. They also provide a significant food source. This is another major reason for the high population density along Japan's Pacific side. 7. The land of snow. The weather on the west coast of Japan is very different from the Pacific side. This area faces the Sea of Japan. In winter, strong, cold, and dry winds arrive all the way from Siberia. As these winds travel over the Sea of Japan, they pick up moisture and warmth. This happens because a warm ocean current, known as the Tsushima Current, flows into the Sea of Japan, making its waters a little warmer than the icy winds. The cold air masses become full of water vapor as they cross the sea. When this moist and cold air then reaches the high mountains that run along western Honshu Island and the northern island of Hokkaido, it cools down very quickly. This rapid cooling causes an absolutely huge amount of snow to fall from the sky. These parts of Japan are famous worldwide for their incredibly heavy snowfall, and they are even called snow country by the Japanese people themselves. Northwestern Honshu and Hokkaido are counted among the snowiest places anywhere on Earth. For instance, Aomori City, which has a population of about 265,000 people, experiences an average of 8 meters, or 26 feet, of snowfall every single winter. This is a truly massive amount of snow that piles up year after year. This heavy snowfall creates many serious difficulties for living and for building new structures. Some buildings in these very snowy areas are specially designed with entrances on their second floor. This special design is often necessary because the snow can get so deep that the first-floor entrance becomes completely buried and unusable. Residents must also often work hard to remove the large piles of snow that collect on their roofs. If the snow is not removed regularly, its extreme weight can be too much for the roof, potentially causing it to collapse and damage the building below. To help people move around and live their daily lives, streets in many towns have covered sidewalks. These covers allow people to walk from place to place without having to battle through the deep snow. Special systems are also used on some streets. These systems spray warm groundwater onto the roads to melt the snow, which helps keep the main roads clear and open for vehicles. In older times, before modern technology, people sometimes even had to dig tunnels through the deep snow just to reach their neighbors' homes or local shops. All these special arrangements and the constant need to manage such a large amount of snow make development and daily life in snow country much more difficult than in other parts of Japan. It is both more expensive and takes a lot more time to build and maintain homes, roads, and other important infrastructure here. This severe climate difference is a big reason why this western side of Japan is less populated compared to the Pacific coast. The milder weather on the Pacific side simply offers fewer challenges, making it a much more attractive place for large cities and for many people to live comfortably. 8. Why Japan is empty. Japan's unique population pattern makes much of it seem empty. This is not by chance. Many things came together to make the Taiheiyo Belt the place where most people live. First, Japan has many mountains, but the Taiheiyo Belt has the largest flatlands. These plains were perfect for building big cities and growing food. Next, this side of Japan has excellent natural harbors. Places like Tokyo Bay and Osaka Bay are deep and safe. They were great for trade and brought many ships. The Seto Inland Sea, protected by islands, also made travel and trade easy for centuries. History also played a part. The shogun moved the capital to Edo, now Tokyo. A rule made important lords travel there often. This helped roads and towns grow along the Taiheiyo Belt. The climate helps too. Warm ocean currents keep the Pacific coast mild. Also, warm and cold currents meet near Tokyo, creating a very rich fishing area. In contrast, the West Coast gets heavy snow in winter, making life harder there. All these good things, flat land, good harbors, and easy-to-use inland sea, historical growth, and a mild climate, happened in the same area. This combination made the Taiheiyo Belt very attractive. Even with risks like earthquakes, the many advantages were stronger. This is why this narrow belt is so full of people, and why the rest of Japan is much more empty. If you could live anywhere in Japan, would you choose the busy Taiheiyo Belt or the quieter, empty regions?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second. and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.